Hello, hello, hello. Let's see, you guys. It's been a while since I've done this from YouTube. I normally use like a streaming service like StreamYard, but tonight I'm gonna try something a little different. Um, let's just see how this goes. We're definitely streaming straight from YouTube. Straight from YouTube. Thank you for popping in. I absolutely appreciate you guys. Again, it's been a while since I've gone live directly from YouTube. But I decided that why not? Let's just try this whole thing out tonight. I'm just checking in, coming in to check in on you guys. Going through the whole grieving process. It's not a very easy thing. My screen, let's see if that looks kind of weird. I'm blue, I'm feeling blue, so why not bring out the blue? Um, let's see. Let's see if you can. I guess you guys can hear me because I got the little, let's see if I can turn it up. Okay, that works. So I'm talking and I'm talking and I'm talking and I might be talking to myself for a little while, but I'm okay with that. Let's see. Testing, testing, 1, 2, testing. Okay. So yeah, anyway, you guys, just coming in, checking on you all. It's been a while since I've done this, since I've been live on YouTube using or going without my streaming service. So this is definitely kind of weird, weird for me to do, but I'm here and I just want to talk. Maybe somebody to hear this. Maybe not. Maybe this message is for someone. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll find out later on. I just want to kind of talk about my my grief. Where my grief is coming from. I know I've said a lot that this channel is based on grieving and getting through grief together. However, I felt like it was important that I tell you guys where my grief is coming from. So, um, I mean, I can go back for years and years and years as to how my grief really, really, truly came about. However, I think I just want to go back in the last year and a half where grief has really been, I've been losing people left and right. I'll just say that for the last 4 years, even the last 2 years, also even the last year, I've just been losing people left and right. The first person that I lost was an aunt, and that was all. All this is literally within a year time span. So just keep in mind, all of this is going back to a year. So initially, the very first person that I lost within this year's time frame was an aunt. She was the aunt that introduced me to my sister. um I didn't know about my sister. We have the same father, however, not, of course, not the same mother, so we were raised separately in different households. um she kind of she had, I mean, she her life, to her, she felt like she had a great life growing up, but I guess she always knew that there was something more, or there were others um that she was related to. But my story, I had siblings that I grew up in the home with, so I never really had the desire to reach reach out for more siblings. Um, I wasn't overly concerned about my siblings, like knowing if I had anybody else out there, because honestly, I did not really look like the siblings that I came from. I did not look like any of my mom's children. Um, I was my eyes were different, my lips were different. I looked nothing like them, but I never questioned it. We were never raised as this is your half brother, this is your half sister. So anyway, you guys, talking about my grief. um years, maybe like 2009, I discovered that I had a sister from my biological father. I have many siblings, but this was one that she and I were actually close in age. And so this particular aunt was the one that actually introduced us and made sure that were, aware of each other. So anyway, moving forward, we got to know each other. She moved, she was living in Florida, I was living out of state in Georgia. We would keep in contact often. Again, the aunt was my father's sister. My mother knew my mother, and she tried to expose me to my aunt. My aunt was in a gospel choir. I know I'm going all around the place, y'all. I'm trying to bring this thing together, but my aunt was in the gospel choir, so my mom would take me to my aunt's house. I guess that was my way, or my mom's way of getting me to, spend time with my aunt. So anyway, the gospel group whole situation, I was there. She was in my life, I was in her life. So anyway, moving forward, um out of the blue, we receive a phone call saying that this particular aunt had passed away. Now, mind you, over the years, I got to see this aunt back and forth because again, I was in Georgia, she lived in Georgia as well. She lived in like near Macon area. And anyway, she would always fuss me out about not calling her, or not not coming by to see her. And I tried to do it from time to time, but life was just lifing. And you don't think at that moment that, oh, I'm about 40 miles away, I need to stop over here and check on her, because of course the older family members get older, right? Well, anyway, the same aunt who introduced me to my sister. And keep in mind, y'all just stay locked in on what I'm about to tell y'all. So anyway, this particular aunt passes away. My sister and I, who now at this point we live in the same city, literally, I was able to walk out my backyard and walk into my sister's backyard, into her back door. Um, Thanks, because of my sister, I was able to get a particular apartment where I was living. To get it in a timely manner, because I was trying to leave the Atlanta area and come back down south towards in Albany, Georgia. So anyway, you guys, over a year, over 2 year, 3 year time span, my sister and I, we got really close. We were, if anything, if I had it, if she needed it, I gave it. If I needed it, she gave it. If it was a matter of, oh girl, I'm cooking today, and oh girl, what you cooking, or what you want something to eat, come get you a plate. Matter of fact, you and your son come over here and get you a plate, because the two older kids or older daughters were already gone, away. They come home from time to time, but mainly it was she and her son that were in the home together. So anyway, you guys, anyway, we got to know each other. Like, we got really really close enough to where it was kind of weird, not seeing her when I moved away from that particular apartment complex. It was kind of weird not seeing her. But the good thing about it, we both had telephones, so we could reach out and contact each other whenever. So anyway, the aunt that I told you guys about in the very beginning, she ended up passing away. So I wanted to go to the funeral. Real talk, funds was kind of low, but working together with my sister, we was like, okay girl, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna leave at such and such time. I'll put gas in your car, and because my car was acting up, and I'm like, I'll give you coins for for gas, and we do whatever we got to do as far as housing and our hotel and all that stuff. So anyway, all of that worked out. We went to the funeral together. I think that was either in the month of, I think that was like in a month of March. Okay, so fast forward, you guys, to July time frame. keep in mind, my sister, she did call me one time and say that she had to go. So we went to the funeral. I'm gonna go back. We went to the funeral. We did what we had to do. We met family. She literally was like my aunt. My sister was introducing me to those family members that she had known that I really didn't know, because I'm an introvert. I really can't function without, or I try to make myself an introvert by not by functioning without other people. But anyway, my sister was like, "This is your cousin, and this is your cousin, and this is your cousin." Like she literally was introducing me to so many family members. Okay, fast forward July time frame, I believe it was, you guys. My sister gets sick. She goes to the hospital. She says, "Sis, I'm at the hospital, but." She says that, she went to the hospital, but they sent her back home. And I'm like, okay, cool. Just keep me posted. Let me know what's going on. Well, she never really said much. She never really said anything. And then she sent me a message. It was like, "Sis, I gotta talk to you." And I'm like, okay, cool. Call me whenever. So mind you, you guys, I have another YouTube channel, and I was live at the time, and she happened to jump into the live. She was like in the live in the comments. And I'm like, oh my God, y'all, look at my sis. She's in the live. And I'm like so happy, because I don't think she's ever, listened or saw me on any of my YouTube channels. So anyway, she did, like I said, she jumped into my live. And she said, "Sis," I was like, "I'm waiting for my sister to call me. I haven't heard anything from you." Like that whole conversation thing, right? So moving forward, maybe, and I didn't think, girl, just call your sister. Just get on the phone and call your sister. I didn't think about that like that. I was just like, because that's how we did sometimes. We'll say, "Girl, I got to tell you something," but it'll be days and days and days before we actually finally got around to telling each other, because she had a life, she worked, and I had, my life, and I did my thing. So anyway, fast forward about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks. I text her because I hadn't heard anything from her, and I'm like, "Hey sis, I'm just checking on you. How's everything going?" And she was like, "Well, sis, I'm at the hospital, but everything's okay. I'll chat with you, I'll call you later and tell you what, I'll keep you updated, in other words." And I'm like, "Wait, what? Okay, you can keep me updated, but I'm definitely on my way to the hospital." So I literally stopped. The last thing I had, like, I was doing like delivery stuff. So I did the last delivery and stopped that, because I was supposed to continue throughout the whole day. But anyway, I stopped, went to the hospital, and I'm just sitting there, and she's telling me something like, they said something, I saw lymphoma on the paper. And church people, we need to stop and start listening sometimes, because I said to her, um, "Oh girl, we not claiming that. We're not claiming no cancer or nothing like that. It's gonna be okay. We just need to hear what the doctor has to say to figure out what is going on." I should have listened. I think she was telling me, but she was telling me without telling me. So anyway, I spent lots of days at the hospital with her. I spent lots of days like going back and forth to the hospital with her, or she was there. She was locked in. Like, the doctors weren't allowing her to leave until they, quote unquote, discovered what was wrong with her. But the thing about it, y'all, she was just in so much pain, and they were trying to give her, pain meds, and um they were giving her pain meds, stuff to keep the pain down, and just no, it was just no answers. And I feel bad. I feel really bad, because I didn't say to her, like, "Sis, what is really going on? Like, what did they tell you was wrong with you?" Like, I never questioned it, because sometimes my sister and I, we were close and we were cool, but sometimes we would, tell all our business, and sometimes we wouldn't. It just depended. And and I'm thinking maybe she, in my mind, I'm like, okay, she thought that she was going to be able to get through this because in the midst of all of this, y'all, we planning to go to cabins, we making plans for trips, and then the days kept going by. So anyway, the last day that I was there at the hospital with her, I spent about maybe 5 or 6 days at the hospital with her, and that following the next day I was supposed to go back out there. The day that Friday I was supposed to go back out there, but my car was having problems again, and my uncle, keep in mind, y'all, in the midst of all of this, my uncle is not doing very well. I'm going back and forth to the hospital with him, doing things for him, making sure he had food because he was going through something. I didn't know what it was, but at first for him it was just like back pains, so I thought it was just back pains. Anyway, y'all, keep in mind that Saturday, let's see, that Friday, that Saturday, Sunday, she texts me and she's like, "Hey sis, where you at?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm gonna come up there tomorrow. Tomorrow being Monday. Um, just trying to figure out some stuff with my car. Push come to shove. Basically, I was just going Uber until I, could get my car back in on point again. I should have just asked my uncle for his car. I never asked him for his car, to go back and forth because he honestly wasn't even driving it. And I didn't know I was missing out on time with my sister. I didn't know that the last day that I saw her was literally going to be the last day that I saw her. I did get the text message from her. But then, so this is Saturday, Sunday, when I told her that I was going to be up there either most likely Monday or Tuesday, just trying to get this car situation together. So anyway, I'm planning, like I'm getting dressed. I'm on my way, getting ready to go to the hospital. Keep in mind, you guys, this is on a Tuesday. Getting dressed. I'm um getting myself together so that I can go up to the hospital to visit her. But then I was also comforted because her adoptive mom was coming into town, so she would have, somebody was going to be with her. Someone was going to be around her. And so I'm just like, okay, well, she got somebody there with her. I'm not going to be, too stressed about it. So anyway, you guys, I got a phone call from my other sister from my daddy's side, all the way from, she lives in Maryland, and she's like, um, she called me by my government name, Latria. Are you okay? And I'm like, what do you mean? Am I okay? Because she said, I heard about Tina, and I'm like, what you mean you heard about Tina? And she calls me. I mean, she says, well, somebody told me that she passed away, but I'm like, well, I was just talking to her on Sunday. I don't know how that would have happened so fast. So I said, well, give me a minute. Let me call the hospital. Let me call her phone. Let me see what's going on. Now, keep in mind, y'all, I still have in my mind that my sister is there and that she's going to answer her phone, and it's just a mistake. People pass bad information all the time. Well, then my niece called me, and my niece lives in Florida, and she was like, "This is another one of them siblings or family members that I discovered from my daddy's side." So anyway, she calls me, and she's saying, "Hey, Auntie, how's Auntie Tina?" And I'm sorry to hear about Auntie Tina. I'm like, "What do you mean you sorry to hear about Auntie Tina?" So keep in mind, I'm calling my sister's phone, and I'm like, okay, bump all the calling. Let me just make my way to the hospital. So I make my way to the hospital, you guys. Literally go upstairs. I check in. They allow me to check in because at our hospital here, you have to show your ID. You check in, you go to wherever the floor you're there to go to. I go up to the floor. I go to I go to her room that she was initially assigned to. They there's nobody in the room, and I'm like, well, maybe they moved her to another room. So I go to the desk, and the lady was like, they moved her to ICU. I said, well, can you call, please, call ICU just to verify, so that I can, I want to go up there, to see her, at least, check on the family or whatever the case may be. So anyway, Come to find out, y'all, my sister, they says, oh, they tell me she's been discharged. I'm like, discharged? Nobody called me. Okay, okay. Discharge is good. Discharge is good. Maybe they sent her to another hospital. Maybe they sent her somewhere where they can actually get her some help because of whatever she was going through. Well, y'all, she was discharged, but not the way that I would have wanted her to be discharged. Um, so I'm like, Nobody told me, nobody texted me, nobody called me, nobody said nothing about her being discharged. Something is not right. And I'm in my spirit, in my bones, I'm feeling that she's gone, but I don't want to accept it at that moment. So I go outside of the hospital. I'm sitting down waiting at the front desk for them to give me a little bit more information. This is at the bottom of the hospital. I call one of my nieces and I ask her, I say, hey, how are you doing? Like I'm just having a general wholesome conversation. Like, hey, how are you doing? And she says, I'm okay, auntie. I'm holding on. I'm like, well, is everything okay? Is this okay? And she's like, no, auntie, I'm sorry. Nobody called and told you that she passed away. And I'm like, no, nobody called and told me anything. Nobody told me that my sister was gone. I had been there. I only missed a few days. Nobody called and told me that she was gone. That was in that moment, you guys, I felt anger, I felt grief, I felt unaccepted by that her other family. Had so many emotions. I had so many emotions, you guys, because regardless of how often I spoke to my sister, we still had a relationship. She still made sure to check on me. And I'm the older one, but because of the way I grew up, I wasn't so family is all about family at the time. I just was like it's only about the immediate family, but not appreciating the other family members that I had, so to speak, from my dad's side. Because previously we had lost two other siblings that actually showed us love and concern and care. So it was like, how do you let people, how why, my question was, and they say don't question God, but my question to God was, God, what's your point? Like, what is your point in giving me these people and then you're just gonna take them away from me? I couldn't understand it. I don't understand it. It hurt so bad to know that my sister was gone, to know that I missed her last word. I don't know what her last word was other than, sis, where you were at. That going back and looking at that message made me feel like I failed her, like I should have been there by her bedside, by her, with her throughout all of what she was dealing with. I still feel guilty till this day for not being there with her in the time. My aunt told me, you can't beat yourself up like that because you were there. You were there lots of days. Okay, you missed a couple of days. It's okay. Like, it's not, your fault. You had other things that just prevented you from being there. But in reality, you guys, I don't know if I did the right thing by not being there with her, and it still hurts. It still hurts. You know, I don't know. Um, I'm speechless sometimes about the whole situation, because sometimes you think you're doing the right thing, you think you're giving yourself, you're giving people enough, but then again, like I said, you guys, I was also dealing with my uncle who I found out later on, he was going through cancer. But my grief is the loss of my sister. Then automatically, I didn't even have time to really grieve the way I needed to. I went directly from somewhat grieving my sister or crying over my sister to literally taking my uncle back and forth to the hospital, finding out later on almost 2 months later that he has cancer. Um, Cancer that, I didn't know. Well, we were told later on it was terminal for him, but my uncle was 88 years old. He made it to his 89th birthday. I grieve that a little only because my uncle, he put me in charge of pretty much kind of taking care of him, like making sure he ate, making sure he was clean, making sure, like, he put me in charge of that. And that was so hard. But again, in the midst of all of that, I did not have I haven't even been to my sister's grave, y'all. I don't even know where it is because again, that same day that I took my uncle to the hospital for MRI, it was the day of my sister's funeral. It was the day of my sister's funeral. So I went to her funeral. They even put me on the program. I didn't know I was on the program to even speak. So it's like there's no communication. There's really no closure. I don't know how my sister passed away. There's no closure. Her Nothing against her children or anything, but they don't really speak. I've never been a bad auntie to them. I've done all I could. I felt like I've done all I could with them, but I felt shut off. I felt shut off from them. I don't know why, but it's okay. You can't please everybody. You can't make everybody happy. So anyway, you know, taking care of my uncle, thinking, okay, we're doing this thing. I never saw a person take the last breath until I saw my uncle take his last breath. Um, I'll tell you guys about that situation. It was months and months. I had been taking care of my uncle, so move into from my sister passing away. I think it's July, having her funeral, going to right into caretaking for my uncle. I ended up moving in with him after they gave him a diagnosis as to what was going on, which was cancer. He had cancer all over his body, y'all. All I can say, y'all, people, if y'all have some problems that just don't seem quite normal, please go get yourselves checked. Go to the doctor, go to the hospital, go get checked, and don't settle for it's just a backache or it's just a leg ache. Make them do MRIs from head to toe so that you find out exactly what is going on with you. So anyway, you guys, again, like I said, took care of my uncle. We got through the process. His daughter and son were great because they weren't like, even though I was taking care of him physically and all of that, they weren't like overbearing, like, what are you doing? Don't do that, don't do this. Like, they weren't overbearing. They weren't that type. Um, they weren't that type, you know. They appreciated what I did for their dad, and I'm grateful that I was allowed to be there for my uncle. But so I said all that to say the very last day that the day that I went out of town to take care of my stepdad, lives about 4 hours away. So I was gone for like 2 days. I'm on my way back home, and my cousin calls me and says that my uncle has to be put on morphine. Um, I'm like, dang, that was quick because, yeah, he was kind of out of it, but he was still somewhat able to communicate. So anyway, you guys, by the time I get to my uncle's home, I guess if you turn your mic back on, it works. So anyway, you guys, as I was saying, I went out of town to take care of some things for my stepfather. Came back because I'm somewhat of a caretaker for him too. I take him to doctor's appointments whenever he asks, do whatever little things he may need me to do. So anyway, I'm on my way back into town to start the caretaking process all over again with my uncle. And I get there again, I get the phone call saying that my uncle is going to be placed on morphine. Now, guys, for those of you that has ever been a caretaker of someone that is living or passing away with cancer, morphine is like that last step that they give people to calm them, relax them, help them with all the pain that they're dealing with. It literally slows down the breathing, because at that point, by the time I got back home, or I'll say to my uncle's house, y'all, my uncle was breathing like his breathing was like super shallow. It was like a fish out of water, like trying to catch his breath, trying to catch his breath, trying to catch his breath. Now, keep in mind, before I left on a Sunday. That Saturday, my uncle yelled out to me. He said, T, I'm having a hard time breathing. And okay, so let's call nurses, let's do what we gotta do to kind of clear your passage. So I adjust him in the bed, help him cough up some mucus that he said was like building in his throat. So I'm helping him with that. Got his little favorite mixture to gargle with. He does that. It comes up, and I ask him, okay, are you feeling a little better? Do you want to wear your we should put your oxygen on. Let's put your oxygen on. So we put the oxygen on, and he's calming down. He's feeling a little better, but he's still kind of sleepy. I let the nurse know like this is what was going on. And they tell me just keep us posted on his blood pressure, keep a because I had the blood pressure monitor and all that stuff. Just keep a check on that. And so everything was fine. He was responsive. He was able to speak, not you really using words, but his the sign language, the certain things he was able to get out. So Saturday came, Sunday came, you guys. I again, I was preparing him because I clean him almost every day. Not almost, but every day I cleaned him up some kind of way, because his nurse who was supposed to come and bathe him on that Friday, she never did come. So I cleaned him up. I bathed him down really good, put on a nice clean shirt, spray him down with his cologne that he loved. He had a few visitors to come through that day. His daughter was supposed to come early, or at least I thought she was coming earlier, but she didn't. So I text her and I asked her, hey, how's everything going? You still coming? And she was like, yeah, I'm coming. I'll be there at such and such time. I'm like, okay, cool. So anyway, as I stated, and then he had a friend that brought him food. I think it was that Friday. He brought him some food, and the food, he knew exactly what the food was. He liked the food. He ate the food. Like it was a whole process, and it was as if nothing was going on. But then I started looking at him, and I'm like, you haven't like digested any of your food, like you haven't had a number two. So I'm like, okay, we're going to eat something soft instead of something too solid, something to help you digest everything. So anyway, you guys, I get back that Monday, like I said, he's breathing like a fish out of water. He's breathing his it's like like that type of breathing, labored breathing. And so my cousin has left to go pick up his medication, his daughter. I walk in. At first I wasn't going to walk into the bedroom where he was. God told me just go in there and check on your uncle. So I go in there and I say, hey uncle, I'm back, because his son was in there, his daughter-in-law was in there, and his friend was in there. So the room was kind of crowded. I don't really like crowds like that, but I kind of just tolerate them. So anyway, I walked in there and I stood at the foot of his bed and I said, hey uncle, I'm back. And his daughter was like, hey daddy, you here? You here? And she called my name, and he was like, he just kind of like looked a little bit, and then his eyes just kind of closed back, and he's breathing. I'm like, I tell him, I talk to him, I say, uncle, we love you. You've been so strong through all of this. You've loved all of us. You've taken care of all of us in some shape, form, or fashion. And I know that you are tired. You told me that you were tired. And I said that we said that God was going to get you through this whole situation. Um, you don't have to be tired anymore. You can rest. You can rest. You can rest. So his daughter-in-law comes over and she says, a prayer, and we just looking at him, and he took a breath, and he was like, it's almost as if he was holding it. And his daughter-in-law was like, Daddy, you don't have to hold your breath. You gotta breathe, you can't hold your breath like that. And I'm like, he took literally about two more breaths, y'all, and that was it. My uncle was gone. I literally watched him take his last breath. He took his last breath, and I didn't know. I asked her, I was like, did he just, and it wasn't like funny, but it was like, wait, what? Like, I asked my cousin-in-law, like, did he just do what I think he just did? Meaning, did he just pass away like that? And sure enough, that was it. He was gone, y'all. And I can grieve for him, but mostly I'm grieving for my cousins because I've lost two parents. So I understand the loss of a parent. Um so my grief is for my family who honestly, I mean, that was their dad. That is their dad. So they were, literally going through it. I grieve for them and their loss, but now that my uncle is gone, and now that the responsibility that I once had, which was to go and be there and take care of him, and now that responsibility is no longer there. It's like, what do I do? What do I do now? So now that it's quiet, I try to, consume myself with things to do. I have my other YouTube channel. I try to consume myself with my YouTube channel. I tried to consume myself with a travel moment where I took myself, out of town, um, visited some people. I tried to, consume myself with that stuff, and it's still difficult. It's still difficult. I'm mostly processing the loss of my sister now. Quiet time gets too quiet. Um, because she was younger than me. I just turned 50. She turned 40. She was 47 when she passed away. So actually now she would have been 48, because January would have been was her birthday. So she passed last year. This year she turned a new age. Anyway, y'all, it's challenging. I don't want, I'm not here to have anybody feel sorry for me or anything like that. I just want to tell you guys, this is where my grief comes from. I've been losing people since I was 18 years old, and it's hard. You don't want to be close with people because you don't know when their time is. They don't know when your time is. But it's like you don't want to be close because you don't want to lose another person. How do you get through it? So anyway, thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all. Thank y'all, thank y'all, thank y'all for, just being here, listening to me. Those of you that are coming back and forth. I see you guys coming back and forth to the live. I appreciate you. I know this was weird but this was my first time going live on this channel using just straight YouTube as opposed to using StreamYard or something like that to do these videos. So there's no images or anything like that. But I just gotta say, I do miss my sister. Again, I think my grief is more guilt because I feel like I should have been there. But then, like, my aunt, it's like back and forth. My aunt told me, you were there, you were there. You spent the time that you could. So don't beat yourself up about that situation. um, it's much easier said than done. I will say that. But in the meantime, you guys, thank you all. I just want to thank you all for, listening to me, tapping in, stopping by, listening to you, girl. Go through her, go through her ish, go through her stuff. Like it's hard. A lot of people. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. It hurts. Um, Never knew grief like this. I knew it, but not like this. To actually have a sibling, and I got siblings that love and care for me. I do. Shout out to my big brother from my mama's side. That's always been there for me. That's always shown me love. When your girl needed some money, my big brother was right there. So shout out to him. I appreciate him so much. He was the first person that I called when I found out that my sister passed away. He was calm. He's always the calm one. Keep in mind again, you guys, this is a sibling. My brother is my sibling from my mom's side, and my sister is my sibling from my dad's side. My brother and I do not have the same father. My sister and I did not have the same father. Long, complicated story. Maybe I could tell y'all about that later on. But with that being said, y'all, it was thank you to my brother for being there for me. Um, Throughout all of this process, just the sounding board, somebody I can talk to when a lot of this stuff was going on. Your girl is still hurting. I'm trying to get through it. I'm trying to get through it. I'm thankful to my friends, my associates, my YouTube friends, the ones I discovered that discovered me. We discovered each other through YouTube. I absolutely appreciate you guys. Um, that's it. Y'all say a prayer for me, and I'll say a prayer for you guys because again, the grief is hard. The grief is so hard. You know, I I'm not that person that I will cry now. Don't get me wrong. I will cry. But I'm not that person that likes to cry, but I do it because it's there. Like you can't fight it. Sometimes you just can't fight it. And it's okay to grieve. It's okay to hurt. I also learned that I kind of shut my world down a little bit from the people that my uncle was close to. I need to do better at that. You will shut down. You will shut down on people that know that family member that has passed away because for the moment you don't want to talk about that person. You don't want to relive everything. Those people are reminders of everything you're going through, you've been through, you're dealing with, you're grieving, all of that. Those people are reminders. So you just try. You really don't want to just you don't want to go through it. You don't want to relive it, in other words. So anyway, you guys, that's pretty much it. Um I thank you all again. Thank you all so much for being here at Tika's Wind Down. Um, it's your girl, Tika. Thank you all for tapping in, hanging out, tuning in with your girl, Tika. If you're new to my channel, if you're finding me for the first time, if you have a story that you would like to talk about and you're grieving, please hit me up at bryantlatria@gmail.com. I would definitely love to hear your story, but I would also like to bring you on YouTube so we can talk about why you're grieving and who you're grieving. Um, Grief is not always the loss of it's not always the loss of a family member. It could be a loss of a relationship. It could be a loss of a job, anything. Some people grieve different things. So please, please, please feel free to you know, check it out. Hit me up sometime. Maybe we can get through this grieving process together. That's what it's all about. Maybe we can get through the grief together. So definitely sadness getting through the process was the title of this video, this live. Um you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, hit them, put them in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you're feeling today, because every day is a different day. Every moment of grief is a different moment of grief. So again, thank you all so much for hanging with your girl. I absolutely appreciate you. New to my channel, subscribe, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that when I bring you guys new content, you will be made aware. Okay. All right, y'all. That's about it. Thank you so much, and y'all have a blessed evening.